Hello, my friends, and happy International Women's Day. Sophie and I are proud feminists and are raising our daughter and our sons to believe that an equal world is a better and more powerful world.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Hey y'all!
Oh, it's the Hake Report.
Try something different.
The Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report.
Terrible
the
stuff.
Hake Report, la la la.
Wow, this is very interesting. I'm James Hake. This is the Hake Report, and it is Tuesday, October 22nd, 2019. Live just after 9 a.m. in the fourth hour of Jesse Lee Peterson's stream. Thank you, Jesse. And I have some interesting things for you. One thing I want to say right off the bat before I forget, it's very important. The word utilize is, I've heard, to be the most unnecessary word. I don't know if you're supposed to say most unnecessary word in the English language, because you can just use the word use. And the fact that this person, Jesse Lee Peterson's final caller, I guess it was, on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, used the word utilized, it made me think he's black. I wonder if that caller was black. I think he might have been. But blacks sometimes will use like the big sounding words unnecessarily, like utilize. Sometimes whites do it too, I guess, right? To be fair. I'm white, so I'm fair, at least fair skinned. I don't know about fair-minded, but I think whites tend to be fair-minded too, to be honest. And more so than the POCs. That's why they tend to vote Republican more than the rest. Although we get suckered by the rhinos several dozens, hundreds of times too many times. Over the course of hundreds of years, we've fallen more and more and more and more into communism. And last night on the Jesse Lee Peterson YouTube channel, we premiered Perversion for Profit, which was put out by the Citizens for Decent Literature, which later became another word, but the CDL. CDL, better than the ADL, right? Perversion for Profit. And it was narrated by this man, Jesse Lee Peterson's friend, George Putnam. Good guy. Reminds me a little bit of Bill Lockwood, who comes on the Jesse Lee Peterson show sometimes. Bill Lockwood is a solid preacher guy and radio host out of Texas. He's on Jesse's show the last Tuesday of every month. Tune in, first hour. So, but that perversion for profit is really bearing out today. And then I will get to your calls. Appreciate you guys calling and holding. 888-775-3773. We don't have Discord going. You know, I stream on Mixer and Twitch on Sundays on my channels. All 6 of my channels, YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, DLive, Mixer, and Twitch. And then somebody on Twitch says, what's your Discord? I want to talk to you. But I don't have a Discord. Well, we do have a Discord, but I don't have it hooked up. I don't have the know-how to hook it up to this finagle this thing that Joelle and Bill have going. So maybe down the road we can hook up our Discord to this thing, our stream. So then you can call in the radio show or call into the Discord or get in on the Discord room. That would be fun for the young kids, the young people that don't like to use a phone. Anyways, yeah, it was really excellent. This perversion for profit. And it just points out this stupid transgender stuff and these God-hating feminists, Mother Nature-hating feminists. They hate their own bodies because by function, their bodies and minds are weaker than the men's and different from the men's. And yet they hate that, and they want to finagle things to get this special treatment and call it equality. And same thing with the transgenders and all that nonsense. Skip, I'll try to get to the out-of-control blacks later. I just happened to glance down and Skip you know, the snake. I should put out that clip of me calling Skip a snake. I should get my channel more exciting with these clips of these callers that have called in, just to get, you know, let people know, easily find some of the defining moments of the show, or memorable moments anyways. But we'll do it. I got a new intern, or two actually, doing an excellent job. Thank you. Shout out to Bubs Love and to Will. Thank you guys. Appreciate all the help. So anyways, I was talking about this transgender nonsense, and I just played for you, what's that guy's name? Justin Trudeau. This was a 2017 clip from March 8th, 2017, which was International Women's Day. So he's all, Happy International Women's Day. Sophie and I are proud feminists, and we're raising our daughter and our sons, or something like that. I wonder if
Sophie and I are proud feminists and are raising our daughter and our sons to believe that an equal world is a better and more powerful world.
Yeah, that's so creepy. Ugh. I like him better at knowing that he did blackface. He's like so much more human, or less fake. You know, that was such fakeness coming out of him. But ugh. So let me play for you part B, where this guy. I'm just gonna jump forward to part B, where he talks more crap about so-called women's rights, and he's including abortion and calling it something that it's not. He's using an elaborate euphemism for killing babies in the womb. Imagine, they went from killing babies in the womb to calling it abortion, meaning aborting the pregnancy. Abort mission, that's killing the baby in the womb, right? And removing it, whatever. And they're all, and now they changed it to calling it reproductive health care. Ridiculous. And then he says some other stupid stuff, and he brings up POC women, how POC women suffer more violence. And I don't think that this is true. I think men suffer more violence, to be honest. But he's talking about probably so-called domestic violence. And the numbers are very skewed on domestic violence, we all know. And he also brings up trans women. So this is all perfect. Listen to this more crap. And I'm sorry I'm using that word, but not sorry too.
But on International Women's Day, we must remember that there is still much work to do. Women around the world receive lower pay and fewer promotions. They are denied legal control over their bodies and their reproductive health. And they face much higher rates of violence, harassment, and verbal, physical, and sexual assault. All of these issues are compounded for Indigenous women, women of color, and trans women.
See? Nothing that he said is really true. Yes, you can find some bad stuff that's happening because men and women today are so evil, and it's thanks in part to liberalism. But the conservatives are very weak, so it's their fault too for being weak. You know, a lot of you guys, especially the alt-right types, blame the boomers. You should blame the people that raised the boomers too. Is that the silent generation or the greatest? I thought the boomers were the greatest generation, but maybe they're not. But, you know, the people that raised the boomers and the people that raised the people that raised the boomers, how did they mess up that they became such horrible parents that they raised the boomers, right? So you have to, like, blame everybody, including yourself. Most people are evil. 99.99999.9, to quote Jesse. A lot of you guys say I try to copy Jesse too much. It's not trying. It's just like a force of habit now. I hang around him so much, listen to him for 3 hours a day. I'm not complaining. So he's talking about promotions and pay. That's easily debunked. This was in March 2017 when they were pushing that false thing about inequality, payment inequality. Women make 70 cents on the dollar and stuff. What they're not giving you is that men do more riskier jobs. They're more skilled. They're stronger. They put in more hours and blah, 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 blah. And women should not be working. Men should. At least not if they're wives. And they're not becoming wives because they should, but they're being taught and brainwashed to go into education and stuff. And the men are too. That's pathetic. And having sex and getting into pornography. And then they don't have the desire anymore to make babies anymore. It's crazy. at least the white ones. And actually, to be honest, I think all native-born people in the Americas, in America, let's say, get so spoiled that they put off having the babies. It's a mess. So then the people that are not as responsible, so-called, are having the babies out of wedlock, like crazy, too. So, and he's talking about indigenous and POC women. That's actually an indictment on the people, the POCs, and the indigenous people, the women that suffer the most violence. He's basically calling the black men and the indigenous men, so-called, and probably the women too, more violent. Something is going on that it's causing the violence, and they don't tell the whole story. That's one thing that liberals do. They may tell you factual information, but they don't tell you the truth because they lie with facts. They tell you that, I've talked about the difference between facts and truth before. They lie. They leave out the information, the relevant information, the truth. So I have the full statement, but I don't think I'll bore you with it at this time. Maybe later in the show, if I feel like I want to annoy you with your newly re-elected prime minister, second-term prime minister. He was first elected in 2015. And supposedly the conservatives have been in charge for 10 years before that. It's kind of like Obama coming in after Bush was in charge for 8 years. George W. Bush. So-called in charge. He wasn't actually in charge. He was not a leader. Like Trump is a leader. So I have more to say about these transgender people. There's a horrible headline that you might have caught at the beginning of the show about this 7-year-old boy who his mother is transitioning him into a girl called Luna, and his name is actually James, no relation to me. And the father is fighting against it, but he just got blocked by a jury. A jury. Not even a liberal judge. Well, a liberal judge had to put the jury up to it, right? And the liberal lawyers, scum of the earth people that went to law school. That's why Joe from Phoenix, consider that. You're not for that. I know you're not for that. And you went to law school, so you have to be aware that there's good and evil. There's wisdom beyond this education stuff. I don't know why blacks get so into education. There I go, talking about the out-of-control blacks, Skip. They get into education, and whites do it too, right? Like I was told I'm going to college. Freshman year of high school, you enter this form, what do you want to do after? I'm like, I don't know. Military. My friend and I both put military, and then our moms and dads, I guess, made us change it to college. Bad idea. I mean, I don't regret my life as it turned out, but I think that it wasn't right. They were misguided and fell for the lie, even though they were Christians. And I went to the Christian school, and Joe from Phoenix rightly said that APU, especially the thing that I did, was a joke. It wasn't a real education. I learned some stuff. It was fun. But I studied art so that I wouldn't have to write, because I didn't like writing. I'm decent at writing, I think, or had potential, let's say. But I didn't like it. I didn't like being forced to write papers and stuff, so I didn't want to write, and I didn't want to end up teaching, because I was kind of shy or whatever. And so I didn't want to end up teaching, so I didn't study history or any of that stuff, or even math. Math got kind of hard when I started doing calculus BC in junior college. I wasn't taking school that seriously because I went to school because I agreed to go to school partly because I just wanted to run. I had gotten into running and all that stuff. So anyways, yeah, school is a brainwashing thing. Even the private schools, even the so-called Christian schools. And so it's a shame. It's not just public education that's corrupt. People across the board, the intellectuals across the board are very corrupt. And they're accepting this homosexuality and all that stuff. I don't know if Joe from Phoenix supports the LGBT stuff. Just curious. He had a memorable phone call with me the other day. Justin out of Ohio. First-time caller. Justin, how are you?
Yes, James.
Hey.
How are you doing today?
Doing fine. Nice to hear from you.
Good, good. Can you hear me? Fine?
Yep. Yeah, I hear you fine. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, I was calling to see what is the difference between facts and truth.
Okay, Jesse Lee Peterson and Donald Trump and Jesus and God, they tell the truth generally, right? I mean, Jesus and God always do, right? And then Jesse Lee Peterson and Trump may sometimes get little factual information wrong, but generally they tell the truth. But they don't always have the facts right. The so-called, the little details and things like that may not be exactly right. That's why the truth is more important than the facts. But then a lot of the media, you'll notice the media are intellectuals, and they try to here's a good example, maybe, where Trump said, as long as I'm president, these Democrat women are not going to get away with disrespecting America. And he said that about, the squad, the so-called squad. And AP, or one of those liberal outlets, takes that statement literally, takes that statement as though Trump is going to apply some legal action, right? Maybe he would, maybe he wouldn't, and said, the First Amendment means that he can't stop them, right? But Trump is a man, and he forces men are good at forcing their will apart from the law. And this is what men used to be. They used to be kind of enforcers in the community. Kids are acting up. Just a man being present would be enough to put fear in the kids so that they don't act wild and be all delinquent. And that has gone missing in many communities. Black communities, big time. Hispanic communities, to an extent. Whites, out of control a lot. You'll see them cussing out their parents. And so the lack of men, Trump is saying that as a man. He's not going to allow them to get away with disrespecting America. But they're hung up on stupid legal stuff. So they'll cite factual information, not understanding the truth behind what Trump is putting out. He's enforcing respect.
I guess my question is, where does this truth stem from? So
that's a good question.
Where does the truth actually stem from?
Facts come from I'll tell you where facts come from. They come from details. Some are important details and some are unimportant details. The liberals try to focus on the unimportant details to distract you from the important ones. For example, I'm giving you another example and not answering your question. Let me answer your question first and then give you another example. So the truth, I guess it just comes from God or something. It's like realness, and you recognize realness, I think. I think you do. You might. A lot of people do, I think, recognize realness. Even liberals sometimes recognize a genuine person. And you can't really deny a genuine person.
So I'll explain a little bit about myself. I am a progressive. Well, actually, I'm more of an independent. I'm not a Republican or a Democrat.
All right.
I'm an independent. But I do believe that the truth comes from God and only God. No man can show truth in any step of the imagination as far as God goes. So I think putting Christ in the same sentence as Jesse Lee Peterson and Donald Trump, I think is a false narrative.
Why?
And I think facts.
Wait, are you a Christian?
I am, yes. I've been a Christian all my life.
You know that in the Bible it says that we're supposed to be like Christ. That's why they called us Christians, little Christs, and we're supposed to be like Him.
Well, I mean, we're supposed to be like Christ
and tell the truth.
Day.
Tell the truth from God, like we're supposed to be like the messengers.
Absolutely.
So then, why wouldn't you put so why wouldn't you put Christ in the same sentence with Trump and Jesse?
Because that's too. I mean, who else are we going to put in that sentence?
God.
I mean, God.
Yeah.
Well.
And then I don't know. There's some decent people out there. Maybe Joe Arpaio. He's still living.
So you're putting a lot of people that, based off
that's not a lot. That's just three.
Well, I mean, I'm just
the holy trinity of men living today. Just kidding.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess my statement is, if God is true, God is love, and I'm a Christian, and I believe that with all my heart, then why would I believe Jesse and Donald Trump? I didn't even vote for Donald Trump.
If you believed it with all your heart, then you would have voted for Donald Trump. And you would see that about Jesse. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, man. I mean, we're all weak people, right? So I don't
Right.
believe that you believe it with all your heart. Maybe you believe it with all your emotion. If that's a real thing.
What?
I don't think
what?
that's
Believe what with all my emotions?
in that God is real or something.
You don't believe God is? Are you a Christian?
No, I'm saying that you don't actually believe that. If you don't see where Trump and Jesse and Joe Arpaio and Jesus are coming from.
So where in the Bible does it say that I have to believe in Jesse Lee Peterson and Donald Trump?
So you're looking to if you're looking to the Bible for truth, you're looking to your own intellect. You're looking to your own understanding. That's why you don't see reality.
But
are you black,
the Bible
by the way?
is what does that have to do with anything?
You sound black,
What
and
does that have?
you sound black, and you sound
But-
like you're intellectual, and it's just interesting. Side note.
And that's another thing that I was going
You
to
are
ask
black.
you about. What does color have to do with being intellectual?
Because
So does that
you
mean
guys
whites
because
are,
you
are
a lot
not
of
intellectual?
a lot of blacks fall into this intellectualism, thinking that it's
called
real
education,
Christianity.
James, something that you probably didn't do.
Say
It's
it
called
again.
education.
Yeah.
It's
See,
it's
blacks
called
believe in
education.
education. They don't believe in truth.
Okay.
You know what I
So,
mean?
Education.
Did you hear me? Did you hear me when I was talking to? Did you hear me when I was addressing, without talking to him on the phone, Joe from Phoenix about blacks falling into this education
Who?
thing? This guy Joe from Phoenix. He's another caller. I had talked to him the last week or two, and I said that blacks fall into this belief in education, and then they think that they have the real spiritual understanding or something. It's so shallow, and
You
I
notice
think that
how
people
you say
see through it.
whatever or something or something like that.
Okay, yeah, it's
You
kind of
don't-
like
you don't-
Joel.
You're not confident. You're not confident in what you're saying.
All right, that's
Because you're saying ignorant.
That's a fair.
So-
I guess that's a fair criticism, but what does that have to do with my point?
Because you're not making any points. You're just saying,
Yeah, I'm making a point.
you're just
I made a
saying
point
words.
that blacks get into education, so-called education. It's really indoctrination,
Right.
and you
What's wrong with that?
become intellectual instead of spiritual. You believe in your own understanding
so-
and pride, like you have pride bleeding through every word that you say.
Can I say something?
Yeah,
before you,
I was trying to make
I
my
know you're
point.
gonna probably hang,
Yeah, you were
I
asking
know
me
you're
to
going
make
to
my
run off
point.
just
Yeah.
like Jesse does. So
He doesn't
when
do
I
that. You
start
made a
proving
false
my point-
accusation. You're bearing false witness against your neighbor. That's a sin.
What? Okay.
I said
so
you're bearing false
let's say
witness
I-
against
I
Jesse, and
went
that's a
to-
sin.
Let's say I was in the 7th grade, right? And I'm leaning on my own understanding.
Uh-huh.
So how would I be leaning on my own understanding if a teacher was teaching me what they needed to teach me to go through life so I can get a good job, get a good salary, raise my family in this world, in this dying world, in this sinful world where nobody else is perfect? How am I leaning my own understanding just because I got an education? for
Those things are
myself and I
those
speak
that
intellectually?
work ethic is picked up from your parents, your mother, your father. It's not really picked up from
Not
the teacher.
necessarily.
Yeah, a good
How
teacher
do you know
can
my-
set a good
but
example.
how
That's
do you
true.
know my parents didn't die at a young? How do you know my parents didn't die when I was 3 years old? How do you
I don't
know that?
I don't know. I don't really. It's
So
not
exactly,
relevant.
James,
You're just
you
bringing
and
up. You're
Jesse-
just bringing up a distraction to disguise the fact that education is not what teaches you a good work ethic necessarily.
What does?
Having a good upbringing. Lots of
But
people
what
are
if you don't
educated
have a
and
good upbringing?
lazy. Look at Obama. He was lazy and educated.
Really? How
Yeah.
is he lazy? Because my family knows him very well.
Oh
Actually.
man, I'm sorry to hear that.
My family is very close friends with the Obamas.
Gross.
Very close friends.
All right.
Actually, my cousin
It's very
married
telling.
a member of their family.
Yikes.
So seriously, I mean, I don't know where you and Jesse.
But you don't
guys
see my
do
point. You
drugs
don't.
after-
My basic point was blacks get into education and then they think they're Christians, but they're not.
So you're not calling. So you know my heart and you know my mind.
I mean,
Another human being knows my heart.
Your heart, the overflow of your heart is filth. You're trashing Jesse.
So how do you know
didn't
that,
even
though?
vote for
How do you
Trump.
know that?
You're very close friends with Obama, and it's just blech.
But how do you know? And that same thing you said last week about
somebody said
George
there's
Bush
a threat.
and Michelle Obama.
Did you threaten me or something? People are saying that you threatened me. I didn't hear it. But if you threatened me, you should take that back.
Who threatened you?
When he said, "I know Obama." Does Obama kill people like Hillary did?
I said my family are friends with Obama. Is what I said.
Yeah, whatever. It's not a big deal.
Yeah,
Justin.
So my point is, James,
go.
I don't believe that you believe. I don't believe that you believe what you and Jesse spew on this radio. It breaks my heart that we're still in this environment where we're spewing hateful rhetoric. I mean, it breaks
Speak
my
for
heart
yourself,
over that.
man.
Being black, white, huh?
Speak for yourself with your hateful rhetoric.
But who do I hate, James? Who do I hate?
Who don't you hate?
But why do you hate?
Why do I hate? Because I haven't like 100% actually forgiven. I've said I'm wrong for hating, but yeah. Yeah.
So there's something root cause in your life that you haven't fully forgiven,
right?
Which is why you are spewing hateful rhetoric on the radio.
But you just hate the truth. The truth sounds like hate to those who hate the truth. It's a meme and it's a fact.
But that doesn't make
and it's the truth. Justin, man, I've been talking to you too long. I gotta go, man. I appreciate your call, and do call again, and we can continue the discussion later, man.
All right. I'll call tomorrow.
Take care.
Thanks.
Oh, man. So, let me quickly, and then Rick and Joe and all you guys. Yeah, I called you out, Joe. I will get to you guys, but let me just give you this story about this. Well, I basically gave you the story about that father in Texas, and I had reported about this before, months ago, or maybe a year ago. I don't know. It's been an ongoing thing, and this is another reason why, Joe, these, and then I'll get to you later, but these family courts, the court system is so corrupt. What type of a court, jury, judge, or lawyer would support a mother taking the son away from the father? This son is age 7, named James, no relation to me. This James is not trying to be transgender, not even transgender, into a transgender girl called Luna. That's such blindness. And they probably do have so-called legal leads to hide behind to support their stupid decision. It's evil. And I'm sure you don't support that, Joe. So I'm not trashing you, but I'm just saying that it's no authority. Man's authority is not real authority. So this born male trans cyclist that you heard in clips on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, I mean, is this even news anymore? This male, so-called female transgender bicyclist keeps smashing women's records, according to Drudge. And so this wannabe female, male to female, transgender, talked about, quote, the people who oppose my existence. And I just want to make the point. They put it in drama words, like the same thing with slavery, right? They put slavery in such drama words. And they act like owning another human being is like the most horrific thing when they kill human beings in the womb. But anyways, Bernie and Cortez, they also are against the existence of human beings. Billionaires, they don't think billionaires should exist. Isn't that interesting? Why isn't that called dehumanizing? They're dehumanizing productive people, actually people that, maybe you could call them evil. Most people are evil. And especially when they get power, they have so much power to commit the evil that's in their hearts. But of course, they're just saying they don't like the fact that they're billionaires. They don't believe that they should be billionaires, which they have no right to do. They're just communists, right? They shouldn't have the right to have that money. The government wants it. That's why they think that by winning a popularity contest, which is an election, they think that they should have the power, all that power and money that the billionaires have. That's all they want, is the power and the money, and to push their stupid, misguided ideology. Because when you're into an ideology, you're like pushing it hard. I support Jesse's, which happens to be the truth, right? So I push it hard. But they support this communism stuff that they fell for, and very corrupt, nasty people. They sexually immoral. Cortez lives with her boyfriend. He white. What a shame. I think he's even red-haired. He's tall, though, but he's dumb. And they are filthy. And Bernie, I've heard him talk real dirty and write real dirty in his past. And he supports nasty, filthy Democrat-type things. LGBT, sex out of wedlock, abortions, all that madness. Deliver us Americans from evil, as George Putnam said. So with the transgenders, their false so-called transgenderism should not be, according to the decent people, the normal-thinking people, God and nature. And speaking of people who hate nature and God, are feminists. That's why I showed you the Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's March 2017 International Women's Day thing about feminism and pushing trans women and POC women as being so-called victims of violence. Men suffer violence way more than women do, I'm going to say. Anyways, let me get to Rick, and then Joe, and then Charles, and then the rest of you guys. Rick out of Hampton, Virginia. How are you? Hold on, Rick. It doesn't seem like Rick is ready. But let me get to Joe. I did call him out from Phoenix, Arizona. How are you, Joe?
Doing well. Good morning, James.
Good morning.
You know, hell must be freezing over because I agree with you 100% this morning.
Nice. Wow, thank you, man.
That court case in Texas is nothing short of child abuse.
Yeah.
That mother is ridiculous.
Yep.
And I hope the father is not giving up because he needs to fight that with everything he can. A 7-year-old child cannot be transitioned. That is disgusting and immoral.
Yeah, it is really evil. It's hateful. And they don't recognize, they try to outlaw, hate crimes. And there's this one law that they're trying to push in some state, I think it might be Massachusetts, where you can't say offensive words like the B word for women, right? They're trying to outlaw that. It's just like I may be butchering the story, right? But I saw a tweet about it in a headline. And they're the haters, And yes, you can find a lot of hate among conservatives because conservatives make the mistake of hating the evil. But that's not, they're not looking at their own hearts, hateful hearts. And they don't realize that this false love that these false concessions to this boy who thinks he's a girl is actually hatred for the child.
It's disgusting.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we agree, man. I'm not surprised, to be honest.
On the first day of constitutional law, our professor said, listen, the law has nothing to do with justice.
Interesting.
So,
yeah.
And it's absolutely true. I've seen it time and time again. The law has nothing to do with justice.
That's a shame kind of a shame that they're teaching it, but it happens to be true. And it seems like it's becoming true more and more, doesn't it? Or am I imagining it?
No, you're absolutely right. It's just, law school is supposed to teach you how to think critically on issues.
Yeah.
Education is not the problem. It's how people apply that education and the critical thinking skill.
Right. There are journalists and people, I've watched it, where they're very knowledgeable, but the way that they put together, they call it synthesize that information, it ends up being all wrong. Their interpretations are all wrong. That's why you see so many that are hating Trump and then they fall for kissing up too much to the people of color and the women and stuff, and the transgenders and LGBT stuff. They fall for that thing, and then they don't realize that they're the ones being ignorant when they call people like Jesse ignorant because he doesn't know a lot of information, and he's very simplistic and sometimes inaccurate with the factual stuff that he says, but he's pushing the truth, especially on this issue. I know that you agree on that.
We've had a nice talk, so I should hang up before we start arguing.
All right, Joe, appreciate you. Hey, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Not to start another argument, but do you agree that anger can lead to increased blood pressure?
Possibly, yeah.
Okay. That's all I wanted to say. That was just saying that to defend my statement because I didn't just say that for no reason. my statement that people thought was so offensive in so-called attacking your health, I was pointing something out that I felt was accurate.
Yeah, but I don't have a lot of anger, James.
Well, do you do this? Do you do Jesse's silent prayer? Because a lot of people don't think that they have anger, like, and they have it, but it's like seething underneath, you know, and they are good at controlling it. They don't lash out and stuff like that. Somebody shocked me when I was first coming to Bond and said shyness, because I was like portraying shyness. Shyness comes from anger, and I had never considered that before. So that maybe there's an anger that you don't realize about yourself.
I know myself pretty darn well. I don't think I'm an angry person.
All right.
My stress came from owning multiple businesses and trying to help too many people and be everything to everybody. So
that's being everything to everybody. That is, I hate to say this, but that is a beta male quality. That's the wrong thing to do, man. It is something that people fall into.
Because I take care of a lot of people in my life.
Right, but it's being all things to all people. You know that that's wrong, even though it sounds both good and bad. It sounds nice, but it's also bad for you, and you know that. You know that was bad for you.
Well, it was clearly bad for me because my blood pressure was too high. So that's that's why I made a whole lot of changes. So,
good.
Anyway.
Well, man, make sure that you said that you don't think that you have anger. Make sure that you know. You don't have to tell us, but you have to know for yourself. Like, Jesse says, it's common sense. You know that.
Sure.
All right, Joe. Nice talking with you.
Have a good day.
You as well. Bye.
Bye.
Let me try let me try Rick back. Rick out of Hampton. Are you there?
Yes, I am here there, James. Sorry, I didn't catch you when you first called me, but I'm trying to let that happen again. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Nice to hear from you.
Man, I'm mad at you, man, 'cause I want to talk about, you talk about so many good topics, man, I want to weigh in on, man,
I appreciate it.
The main one I want to talk about, though, is, the silent prayer?
Yeah.
When I do the silent prayer, man, I grew up as a kid. I never had anger, and I always wanted to do the right thing. Don't mean I made mistakes, though, but I wanted to do the right thing all the time and be happy, man. And the things people go through, I didn't go through as a kid, and I don't go through it today. And when I do the silent prayer, I just have silence, when I'm, doing a silent prayer.
Yeah.
And I feel relaxed, at peace with myself, And I just want to know if that's, when you're doing a silent prayer, that's what you're, praying for peace.
Yeah.
Help you make wisdom, make with a good, wise choices and things like that.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. So, then that's good. That was
I don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't really know.
That's what I feel I be going through when I do the silent prayer, peace, quiet, and, I'm at peace with myself when I do the silent prayer. That's
all right.
What I feel like. And
that isn't always the case, but that's nice, I think.
So I would think, too. So the thing, and the other thing I want to talk about is college, man.
Yeah.
College is overrated. That's why they charge so much, because everybody believes the black community is trying to send all their kids to college. And first they tell us, don't be no white man. Well, don't work for the white man. Go to college.
Right.
Let me tell you, a lot of millionaires don't only come from college. You can be a millionaire making $35,000 a year if you don't be drowning in debt. Right.
There's these people that say, oh, what? So if you go to a doctor, you wouldn't go to college? Of course. Common sense says you go to college for stuff that is actually useful. But most of the stuff that we learn in college is not. It's actually counterproductive to common sense. It makes you think that you know stuff that you don't know. People become really arrogant.
Yeah, because see, just like what you just said, James, what Jesse tries to do is make, everybody trying to use these long, complicated formulas to bring the truth out, but just keep it simple, common sense.
Yep.
And I guess they trying to make it sound they know a lot more by using big words. They don't even know what it means half the time.
I know.
But I'm an HVAC guy in trade, a heating and air conditioning technician.
Right on.
And, hey, we short-handed, man. We looking for people, and heating and air conditioning pays pretty good. You make an average once you get experience, average of 25 or more an hour.
That's a good tip, man. We should pass that along to that incel. I need to have that incel guy on.
We are looking for good, hard-working people.
Yeah, and they're not going to replace the HVAC people. That incel guy thought that they're going to get rid of truckers in the next 10 to 20 years, as if, you know, he can't make money in the meantime. Yeah, man, I appreciate that tip. I will pass that along.
And elevator mechanics, they're looking for those.
Oh, yeah.
They pay well as well.
That's a manly job, elevator mechanics.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they need it because somebody got to work on the elevators in L.A. where you guys are at.
True, and that's true. And they are tearing down all these one-story buildings and building high-rises. You know,
Yes,
Agenda 21. They want to globalize and centralize everybody, take away our cars and put us all on public transportation
each other.
and those scooters. Man, I appreciate that, Rick.
Each other. No problem. Hey, love you, James. Keep up the good work. The Hake Report. La, la, la. Talk to you later, bro. I'll try calling tomorrow.
All right, Rick. Thank you, man. Yeah, speaking of the Hake Report, Noah's Arkansas gave a couple of ninja guineas. Thank you, Noah's Arkansas, and said, the Hake Report, the Hake Report. And I'd say to that, la, la, la. Thank you, guys. Let me get to a couple of excellent calls for you, and then hopefully a little bit more stories. Charles out of St. Louis, Missouri. Charles, how are you?
Good morning, James.
Good morning.
And how are you doing this fine morning?
Doing fine, thank you. Doing fine on this fine morning. I lost my other caller, one of my other callers. Yeah, go for it.
You know, I would wish that you use the intelligence that you really do have and carry a decent conversation with people instead of that back and forth that you do.
Are you referring to my first call with that black caller who didn't want to say he was black, and we were arguing about education and Christianity and whether Jesus and Trump and Jesse and Joe Arpaio tell the truth from God?
Well, yes, I'm speaking of
I really enjoyed that conversation. I do hope to talk with him more.
You had fun with it, but it's not good for your listeners.
I don't know. What do you guys think, my other listeners? Other listeners, did you like my call with what was his name again?
I mean, you have your own idea of what's going on, James. And I know you do.
It is hard to tell when you're the host. It's hard to tell how the show's going.
Okay, as far as what he had to say about Trump and what he had to say about Jesse, I tend to agree with him.
What? You don't think Trump and Jesse tell the truth?
I think Trump and Jesse...
Despite having piddly little facts now and then wrong?
Well, it's the facts that matter.
Irrelevant facts? Nuh-uh. The facts don't always matter.
Facts are facts.
There's a whole lot of unnecessary facts and matterless facts. There are a whole lot of facts that do not matter. It's like saying, well, Charles, my hair's red. That's a fact, but it doesn't matter.
James, that's a fact.
It doesn't matter. The facts don't always matter, Charles.
It is great.
I know, but saying we don't need a wall, here's an example that I forgot to get to with that first caller. Thank you for reminding me, Charles. So here's the facts, or the truth. The truth is we have an immigration crisis, right? So-called immigration crisis, this invasion. And you agree with that, I know. But
I do. There
is a fact that the liberals like to point out to pretend that we don't need the wall. And there's many facts, right, that they point out to pretend that debunks any need for a wall. I don't think debunk is the correct word. I'm white. I'm not perfectly educated. But anyways, they say we don't need a wall because, this is maybe not a direct quote, because most so-called immigrants or undocumented immigrants are here on overstayed visa. They flew in here and they were on visa and then they overstayed. That means we don't need a wall. Well, that's pretending that we don't have thousands of people crossing the border illegally all the time. We do.
We have over 1 million people crossing the border per year.
Yeah, illegally probably.
Per year.
Yep. Plus a million that we're letting in legally. It's a shame.
One of the things they say about the wall is, well, they'll just dig under it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's another fact that they like to bring up, as though it's so easy for all these people to go under the tunnels when they have like wide open spaces that they can go through.
They haven't heard about seismic sensors. They haven't heard about the drones.
Yeah,
we haven't heard about,
The wall is not the only thing. It's just the main thing. It's like a huge thing that is going to help big time.
We're just going to build a wall and say, ooh, that fixed it.
Right. We're going to build the wall, and we're going to enforce the wall, and we're going to have others fancy security measures too.
Right. So the wall.
And Mexico is going to pay for it.
Well, they have no choice because we do trade with them.
Yep.
So,
exactly.
But my thing with you is use your own common sense. Stop repeating Jesse's dribble.
But Jesse's dribble is common sense.
No, he says that.
And it's not dribble. It's called common sense.
Wait a minute. Hold on. He says to be born again, I have to forgive my mama and my dad.
If you don't forgive them, then you're not born again because...
Hold on.
Okay. All right. I'll hold on.
Okay. That's not what Jesus said.
No, he did say that.
Authority.
He did say that.
No.
Yeah, he did.
He came down, not when he was speaking about being born again.
It doesn't matter when he said it or didn't say it. He said it. He said, if you don't forgive others their sins against you, then God won't forgive you your sins against them.
You cannot send a prayer to him if you have strife against your brother.
That's
something totally different.
Thank you. And aren't your father and mother your brothers? They're your brothers too.
Wait a minute. If you have strife with your mother and father, of course you must forgive them.
And those are your brothers.
But if you don't have strife with them,
so Jesus never said if you don't have strife with them. How come you're adding that in there?
If you don't have strife with your mother and father, then you don't have to forgive them because you do not have strife.
How come you're adding that in? Jesus clearly pointed out that people do not honor their parents.
No.
Yeah, he did. He did. He pointed that out to the Pharisees, the hypocrites. I think they were Pharisees.
Well, he was talking to the.
He was talking about something that.
He was talking to the synagogue of Satan.
Well, I mean, everybody's the synagogue of Satan. Everybody's following.
No.
Well, okay, we're not all the synagogue, but we're following the synagogue.
No.
Don't you agree that everybody's following the synagogue of Satan?
No.
Why not? You think it's just some special people and you don't count just because you're a son of Satan too?
No, the synagogue of Satan brought ungodly things and put them into the practice of God's law.
Those are the children of Satan.
And that was the synagogue. And he was actually talking to the Pharisees who had the responsibility to teach correctly.
I think, listen, let me give you a bit of unsolicited advice. When Jesus talks to people, you should consider whether it applies to you, because he may be saying something rebuking these people, right? And you're like, well, that's not me. I'm not those people. But it may well apply to you. Same with when Jesse talks so-called crap about the blacks. When Jesse says something negative about the blacks, hold on. When Jesse says something that is critical of the blacks, criticizing the blacks, I often will hear something that applies to me. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like that too. I'm like the blacks in that way. And so I don't think that, he was just talking about the blacks. And you shouldn't go, Jesus was just talking about the synagogue of Satan. He wasn't talking about me too. Hashtag.
No, I didn't say he wasn't talking about me. Jesus talked to me in his teaching.
I know, exactly, about the synagogue of Satan.
See, that's when he's talking to me.
Yeah, when he's talking about the synagogue of Satan, he's talking to you.
No, he's talking about the synagogue of Satan.
And you. It applies to you too. Where you go wrong is no different from how the synagogue of Satan goes wrong. They're both children of Satan.
I'm not a child of Satan.
I don't know that. You have to know that for yourself.
I know it for myself.
All right. That's nice. Cool, man.
But when you put races against one another,
who does that?
One better, one worse.
Who's you?
That is not the way to teach the gospel.
Who's you?
No, that's a statement.
Oh, the general you?
The general you.
All right. Yeah, that's fine. But Jesse doesn't bring up race when he's talking about salvation.
He brings up race all the time.
Yeah, because blacks are so into and hung up on race.
No, Jesse.
Yeah, they are. No, he's not. He's not hung up on it.
Oh, he's hung up on it.
Oh, no, he's not.
Nitty-gritties off of it. He makes a lot of nitty-gritties off of it. You got
That's
white people
that's
buying
good.
your building.
That's good because he tells the truth about it. It's so refreshing. People want to give ninja-guineas.
No.
Yes, it's
He
very
turned white
refreshing.
people into victims.
You don't
He
know the
turned
white people's
people into
hearts.
victims.
You don't know the white people's hearts.
No, I know Jesse's heart.
No, you don't know Jesse's heart.
He turned white people into victims.
No, he
Now
doesn't.
they listening to a little old man
Not true.
from Georgia.
He tells whites not to be victims. You're not listening. He tells
Speak up, white people,
whites.
Speak up.
Yeah, exactly. Stop being victims.
Shouldn't all Christians speak up?
Yeah, but they're not because.
Shouldn't all Christians speak up?
I said yeah, but they're not. That's why he's telling them to speak up.
Shouldn't that be the message?
No, because whites are especially quiet because they're scared to talk about race. You know that. Come on. Wake up. I gotta go,
what
man.
People you be hanging around?
Huh?
I don't know what white people you be hanging around. I don't have a lot
Not
of
the good
people
old
about
Southern
white
whites. Unfortunately. All right, I gotta go,
Well,
man.
you
Nice
mean
to talk with you. Don't say that word.
Dixie Democrats and Northern Democrats? Good old Southern whites?
Yeah. The good ones.
Well,
I gotta
no,
go,
they're
Charles.
Democrats,
Let's
James. How could
talk
they be
more
good?
later. Let's talk more later. All right?
James.
Yes.
You still my boy.
I'm so flattered. All right. I gotta go. Take care, Charles. Good to hear from you. Oh, such nice black collars today. So, let me just show you the photograph of the twerking that went on in Barcelona. She might be Afro-Latina. Well, this is a picture. This is from Drudge. I'm sorry. Let's just go ahead and take it back down. But it says twerking on burning streets of Barcelona. So in Barcelona, I know you'd rather look at me, right? So in Barcelona, they were... Nick said, I corrected him, and he said I wasn't his boy anymore. So yeah, this woman is maybe more Afro than Latina. I guess you can show it again, but it's like it's a twerking picture, right? So this woman or underage person maybe is sticking her butt out like Beyonce, nasty, and then twerking on the streets with cross-trainer shoes on her. And then and she's in the street, it looks like, outside of the crosswalk, but it doesn't matter because the street next to her in the intersection or something is burning. They're having riots, and that's in Barcelona. And I told you guys yesterday about the Barcelona situation. I forget what they're protesting against or rioting against. I don't know why they call them protests. They're riots. But you'll notice these people. This is why I suspect that the Hong Kong so-called protesters are mostly liberals. One, because there's a lot of rioting, like burning businesses. Down in Chile, I think, they've had 7 deaths because they've burned businesses, and people have fallen for, burning businesses. It's dumb. It's not a good thing to do. But they're killing the employees who are in there. Maybe inadvertently, I don't know. But it's so crazy. So that's one reason I know it's liberals. Because conservatives, even the alt-right, I don't see them burning stuff. And the alt-right, some argue not all of them are conservatives, right? They're more like nationalist, socialist, or whatever. Some of them are even like real fascists. That's cool, whatever. But I don't see them committing violence and vandalism and stuff. That's one reason that I think that the Hong Kong people and all these other rioters and protesters are they're liberals, I think. Or many of them are. The other thing is, there's 3 things. The other thing is they're coming out in mass numbers. We've never seen human beings in America come out in mass numbers for what's right. ever. Yeah, I mean, sometimes there's like something that's nominally right, like the pro-life people, but that's kind of led by women, and it's not exactly right. A lot of pro-life women came out against Trump before he got elected. Later on, some of them came around. But this pro-life push, speaking of that, I met Nolo King called in yesterday about the Canadian elections, talking about abortion and the so-called conservative candidates. And we don't know necessarily that what their stance is on abortion, maybe. Some of them have been clearer than others, and it sounded like Nolo King might have been inaccurate about that, according to a couple of other commenters on YouTube on my channel. I don't know, Nolo King. Check into it for yourself. I'm not trashing your name. But anyways, these people, so like big numbers, it tends to be, oh, should I play that? It tends to be a bunch of liberals. Black Lives Matter, Women's March, the so-called civil rights movement. It was basically a communist movement. It wasn't for what's right. There were some things that maybe were okay, I guess, but most of it was not for what's right. Look at the results of it. It's worse than ever. The surviving so-called civil rights leaders, they're the worst people on earth that you can think of, or they're tied with the worst people. Support abortion and LGBT crap, nonsense. Democrats, communists. And so that's the second thing. One is they riot. Two, they come out in big numbers. And three, they do these stupid things like dancing, twerking, if you call it twerking dancing. I don't know, is twerking a type of dance? It's like it's pornography art. It's twerking dancing. Yeah, I guess it is. But whatever.
Age to the no.
Oh, age to the no. That's 30% white and 70% black for no. Emphatic no. Or emphatic no, right? But age to the nah. And the other thing is, not only are they okay, so that's the Afro-Latina working. More Afro than Latina, right? Twerking. And then the other one, Hong Kong, they were forming a human chain. And I noticed the Occupy Wall Street, not all of them were rioting during the Occupy Wall Street stuff. They were, what were they doing? They were pushing, they were doing artwork stuff and little demonstrations in favor of Palestine over Israel and stuff, which makes me leery about the pro-Palestine movement, even more so because it was Occupy, communists. So take that for what it's worth. But anyways, like they do these artsy things, and artsy tends to be female and liberal. Linking arms in a human chain, they're holding hands across Hong Kong. That seems to be a woman liberal thing. It's like a meaningless so-called statement, right? I don't picture a man leading a protest movement or a revolt against China pushing that. I don't think that's a man's idea. It might be a liberal, female-minded man. That's just my take, you know. It's very simple-minded, right? But yeah, so the point is rioting, big numbers, and it's either degenerate artwork like the twerking, or meaningless, girly, female-minded, feel-good artwork that doesn't do anything. Nick says the gifted of twerk. And Joel says never. So yeah, the artsy stuff. I don't know what you guys think about these protests. I don't like the governments either. They're corrupt governments. It's true. Venezuela, Ecuador, Chile, Barcelona I think I forget what the name of the country is that they want to break away and become their own country away from Spain, right? Catalonia, thank you. Catalonia. So, yeah, that woman's name was, should I even tell you her name? We're at the end. Shall we just play part C? Should we play part C? Yeah. I'm going to not play any music song at the end. I'm just going to play part C and go away, and you'll end with this bad taste in your mouth on what George Putnam warned y'all about. People like this guy.
Hello, my friends, and happy International Women's Day. Sophie and I are proud feminists and are raising our daughter and our sons to believe that an equal world is a better and more powerful world. Today, we join people all over the globe to celebrate the remarkable achievements that women have made in every sector and sphere. Canada's history is full of incredible women, from Thérèse Casgrain to Viola Desmond to Nellie Cournoyer, who deserve recognition and applause. We have achieved real progress in advancing women's equality, especially in the past decades, and much of that progress is due to the tireless and passionate efforts of women. But on International Women's Day, we must remember that there is still much work to do. Women around the world receive lower pay and fewer promotions. They are denied legal control over their bodies and their reproductive health.
Nasty.
They face much higher rates of violence, harassment, and verbal, physical, and sexual assault. All of these issues are compounded for Indigenous women, women of color, and trans women.
Bad
This
reflection on
year,
themselves.
Canada's theme for International Women's Day is Equality Matters. I hope we take this to heart and let it motivate our words and actions. And let's not forget the essential role that men have to play to advance gender equality in our society. On International Women's Day, let's honor the remarkable women in our lives and in our history, and today and every day, let's work together towards a more positive, just, and equal world.
Ugh. He doesn't know anything about justice. So that was disgusting Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, whom y'all just reelected. Well, probably none of you guys who watch this show voted for him, I'm hoping. But anyways, Noah's Arkansas gave a Ninjagini for being victimized by Jesse and me. Thank you, Noah's Arkansas. He's a victimized white man, I assume. I think he's white. Maybe he's Jewish. Shout out, Noah. Thank you, man. All right, guys. Well, take care, and we'll see you maybe tonight if I get more old videos out. That would be nice, but maybe not. Maybe tomorrow night, but also tomorrow morning on the Jesse Lee Peterson Show and the Hake Report, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9, and then 9 to 10 for me, Pacific time. All right, guys. TheHakeReport.com, JLPTalk.com, JLPTalk.com for Jesse. Bye.